So here's the thing. This is the first time I ever done a public broadcast about my Dallas Cowboys. Now understand this. This broadcast is not for those who don't like the Dallas Cowboys. So if you're not a Cowboys fan, I suggest you do not listen to this broadcast. We're not going to be like ESPN, and we're not going to talk down to the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to keep it the fuck real on this podcast. The Dallas Cowboys are not a horrible football team. They have a lot of injuries. They lost their starting quarterback when they faced the New York Giants. And they don't have an offensive coordinator. Mike Nolan has proven that he is not the guy to get the job done in Dallas. Mike McCarthy has proven that he is the guy to get the job done. He has won 2 games in a row. However, Andy Dalton has proven he's not the quarterback in Dallas. If you look at the stats does not lie. That Andy Dalton is not Dallas Cowboy material. He didn't get the job done when he was in the Bengals, and he's not getting the job done now that he's in Dallas. Dak Prescott is the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. End of discussion. There's no question that not only is he a leader in Dallas, but he's proven that he can play really good football. In the last 4 years that Dak Prescott's been in Dallas, the Cowboys have been winning. May have not won the division a few times, but they had a pretty solid record in Dallas. 13-3, 10-6, 9-7, 8-8. Pretty good. It's not playoff good, but it's pretty good for a elite quarterback. Now Dallas, they have the football plenty of times in football games, and we all seen that the Cowboys can play good football when they want to, when they show up. But when you don't have a defense, and when you have a Mike Nolan defense, you can't get the job done. And that is the case in Dallas. Mike Nolan cannot get the job done in Dallas. He has proven that he can't get the job done. There's times when the Cowboys show up on the offense, and there's times when the defense does not show up. There's times when the defense shows up and the offense don't show up. There's times when neither side of the football show up, and then it's a disaster, because then it's a blowout. The Cowboys need to show up in every game, and they need to play one game at a time. Defense the football. Offense, score enough points to win the football game. But when you don't have Dak Prescott, and when you have a fumbling Ezekiel Elliott, you're not going to score a lot of touchdowns. Those times your Cowboys show up in the first half, and then Cowboy fans are like, okay, we'll win in halftime. So I'm going to take this win because we're going to win when we get back on the field. But then when the Cowboys get back on the field, it turns out to be a second half blowout. For example, Thanksgiving Day. A lot of Cowboy fans, me included, thought we was going to win that game. We thought, okay, we're going to get our payback. We're going to beat the Washington football team. The Dallas Cowboys, they did a pretty good job in the first half. Didn't do a good enough job in the second half because they got blown out. But the first half, Cowboys fans thought, okay, we're going to win this game. We got our payback. Now, when we first faced Washington, it was a 3-25 blowout. The worst football game I think all Cowboys fans have ever seen. The second half, we did a pretty good job. The Cowboys, what they did was they didn't do a good enough job. Now remember, in the first half, the Cowboys was up. But then in the second half, it turned into a blowout, 41-16 final. And that is why the Cowboys are in the situation that they're in. Now you need to depend on other teams to beat the Washington football team so you can win the NFC East. And it could happen. It could. I have hope. I have a feeling that the Cowboys could win out and Redskins or Washington football team could lose out. They lose to the Ravens, which was a must-win. That really would help the Cowboys if they won that game on a Thursday night. 17-34 final. And then they get rolling versus the Bengals, 37 final. And then they got rolling again versus the 49ers, 33-41 final. And now they face the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts Eagles because Carson Wentz is benched for being a horrible quarterback that we all know he is. Now, the Cowboys, they have a pretty good offense. I mean, Andy Dalton is not a really big fan of mine. I'd rather have number 4 in the pocket, throwing the football and running it up when he's about to get tackled. I'm not going to lie, Dak Prescott is a future Hall of Famer in Dallas. And he's been doing a pretty good job as quarterback, coming in for number 9, Tony Romo, who was a really good quarterback as well. So 2 games left. Cowboys, Eagles this Sunday, and then on my birthday next Sunday, it's going to be Cowboys and Giants. The Cowboys are going to win the next 2 games. I'm going to say that one more time. The Cowboys are going to win the next 2 games. They're going to beat the Eagles, and then they're going to beat the Giants. The Washington football team is going to lose out, and then you can crown the Dallas Cowboys your NFC East champion. If you take a look at the history, the NFC East is a very different kind of division because you don't have one team winning that division every year. Every year is a new reigning team crowning division champion. Cowboys 1 year, Eagles the next year, Cowboys the next year, Redskins the next year, Giants the next year, Cowboys 1 year, on and on, so on and so forth. But this year, the NFC East is not a pretty good division. It's a pretty bad division. All 4 teams are pretty horrible.
Jaden.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, but all day?
Who cares?
Jaden, are you